Yeah.
Hello. Okay, so Wizards of the Coast just dropped a 50-page Unearthed Arcana, gargantuan stuff. We've got the Fighter, the Barbarian, new weapon perks, the Sorcerer, the Wizard, and the Warlock, and we're breaking it all down. I'm here with Colby, who you'll know from D4 Deep Dives. Do you want to just introduce yourself quickly?
Hey, everybody. Yes. For those of you who don't know me, I'm like Will, but really long and slow and boring.
No.
I think some of you will probably have seen, my videos recommended to you on your YouTube homepage, and then you hover over it and you'll be like, an hour-long video on one character build? Ugh. No, I do character builds. Like D4 is the name of the channel, D&D Deep Dive. And I just put out a weekly video that does like one character, sometimes two, but mostly just one character, where we literally go like level by level. It's like, okay, here's the concept, this is what we're building for, whether it's cool or quirky or fun or unique or just trying to be really powerful or whatever. And we'll go all the way to level 17, pausing at various points in the video to discuss like, okay, here's what you can expect the damage for this character to look like at this level versus this armor class, etc., etc. So yeah, if you like character creation for D&D or other TTRPGs, I've been dabbling in Pathfinder, and spreadsheets, like that's the Venn diagram, right? Like where there's a crossover there, like,
yeah,
then you're gonna want to check out my channel.
Yeah, it's the absolute best in the business for that. Well, for the deep dives, and part 2 of this video is going to be on Colby's channel right now.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I'll link it in the description. I'll link it in the pinned comments. But this one, we're going to focus on the new weapon perks. We're going to focus on the Fighter, and we're going to talk about the Barbarian. And then on Colby's channel, we're talking about the Sorcerer, Wizard, and Warlock. So there's lots to dive in. So we'll start with weapons, which should be on screen. I haven't seen any of this before.
Yeah, this is sight unseen.
Live react. So let's scroll down. So,
and this mastery property, this is new to me. So each weapon now has a mastery property, a special property that requires a feature to unlock. The mastery properties are described in this document. Short swords are a martial weapon. The net, which doesn't deal damage, is now adventuring gear rather than a weapon. Interesting.
Okay.
That
was always a bit of a meme.
Yeah, like I've done some builds where like we were quick tossing, but using a net. A quick toss from the Battlemaster. It's a Battlemaster maneuver,
cool
right?
idea, yeah.
And so you can bonus action throw out a net, but if it's not a weapon, that might not work anymore. Okay. Trident damage is changed from D6 to D8. Its versatile die is D10, so Trident got a buff. Lance. The Lance has always been an interesting weapon. Heavy.
They made it heavy. One of my favorite
and
builds
two-handed
was dual wielding lances.
I did.
I
did like a mounted Battlemaster, I think it was, with like a lance in each hand, and it's weird, and it might make you go, wait a sec, but it worked. Rules is written. Apparently not anymore.
Yeah, no. One of my favorite ever videos. I think I called it like the most underrated weapon in D&D, and it was about the lance. But okay. I think, to be fair, the reason why it was underrated is because I don't think I've ever seen anyone use it, right? So if people aren't using the lance as it is, maybe it makes sense to give it a change.
Sure.
It looks like it's got weaker though. It's definitely got weaker.
Yeah.
If it's two-handed and heavy and it now only deals a D10.
A D10
that is probably
D12.
Yeah. It's probably come down.
If there's any war pick, versatile. Musket and pistol are now official, not just optional in the DMG. That's interesting. Of course, the DM can still overrule and say
they could rule.
No
I mean,
gunpowder.
I've always assumed they were kind of official as they could be anyway.
Right,
I kind of assume they're in games.
I guess just not in the player's handbook. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people will be annoyed about that, but DMs can always override if they don't fit in your world, right?
Light properties now in the weapon properties. Thrown property now allows you to draw a weapon as part of the ranged attack. Thank you.
Okay.
That was always a little wonky.
Yeah.
And you had to like take the thrown weapon fighting style, to get that advantage.
Yeah, I think that's something that most DMs just assumed was there because it was so obvious, right? Like you have to, they just hand waved that rule, so it makes sense to throw it in.
Yeah.
And then we have all the weapons here.
Oh, we probably don't want to put everybody to sleep by going through every one of these, but I really want to go through every one of them.
I can't. Yeah, no, I feel it. I'm looking down. It doesn't look like there's anything too different here.
So
no new weapons.
So I don't know anything about this mastery thing, and that's probably the biggest thing, right? So I mean, you've got club, D4 of bludgeoning, dagger, D4 of piercing. Great, yeah. Properties that these look pretty familiar and similar for the most part.
It's the slow Nick push Vex stuff. I'm guessing that's
thing.
below.
Yes. So we'll get into it, but we'll maybe just kind of do a quick overview here, see if anything else is jumping out to us. Yeah. Yeah, I think my favorite difference between Pathfinder and 5e, Pathfinder 2e anyway, is the weapons and how they all have like different properties. There are different things that you can do with them. You can trip, you can shove, you can, and you can get critical specialization effects, which if you crit and you have the mastery with this, then based on the weapon that you're using, it does something special, stuff like that, which just makes weapon choice so much more interesting. And so I'm so appreciative of Wizards of the Coast taking that route here, because it did, right? It got boring. It's like, do you want a longsword or a great axe? What's the difference? Nothing. Like literally.
Yeah, like, it really is nothing.
Like it's flavor.
Yeah. It's the same because it makes it it gives some, well, we'll see them in a second, but I'm guessing topple forces someone prone, right? So it gives all the martial classes access to some utility options,
right?
That you can the more options you have, the more combo potential, the more creativity you can get. So if there's an ability to I can see one of them was called Flex. I hope that's like you flex on someone a little bit,
I said great axe. I meant battle axe earlier. Sorry, I'm sure there's going to be a comment that like, what are you talking about? There's a huge difference between the longsword and the great axe.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. Yeah.
Anyway,
no, I know what you meant.
Now, is this just me? Is Warpick a new weapon? I know that it exists. It's a pretty good one in Pathfinder, but feel like I don't remember it being in D&D.
I know when above they mentioned the war pick, and I was like, is that a weapon? But I guess it is. It looks like it's just a 1d8 piercing, like 1d10.
Yeah.
So it looks identical to the longsword, right?
Right.
1d8.
It's just piercing
1d10
instead of
is
slashing.
just a longsword.
Yeah.
Yeah, just piercing instead of slashing.
With of course a different. the same.
Yeah. So the longsword now has
flex and flex.
Oh, flex. They're both flex.
So just a damage type.
Kind of the same. Okay, the blowgun's still there.
Still just one piercing damage on the blowgun.
Yeah. I would have liked to have seen a feature that gave the blowgun. I can see they've put Vex, whatever that is. I would have liked some kind of poison feature. Yeah. I think something like that would have been cool. Maybe I don't know how complicated they want to make it.
Maybe there
will. I mean, there is the poisoner feat, but it's not great. But
and it doesn't necessarily work well with the blowgun specifically. But it'd be cool if they did something to make it like I did a blowgun build once. But it was almost just like I'm using the blowgun for thematic purposes, but really it would be better. Yeah, it'd be better with a different weapon.
Crossbow or something.
Yeah.
There's definitely, looking at this now, we'll have to see what they all do. But the fact that so many are shared between different weapons makes me think they're going to be quite generic. Which my immediate thought is it would be cool if each weapon actually had its own thing. Like.
Right.
They're not shared. It's like, no, the blowgun does something completely different to the hand crossbow. It's not just that they both have the Vex property.
Yeah.
I think that would be exciting, but we'll see what it is. It looks like it's right here. So each weapon.
And interestingly, while firearms are listed as martial ranged weapons, they don't seem to have any special property like you need proficiency with firearms in order to use them, right? They're just, you need martial weapon proficiency, it looks like now. They're just a lot more expensive still. 250 gold for the pistol, 500 for the musket, but otherwise there might not end up being any drawback to using a firearm once you can afford it, assuming they exist in your world. Ammunition, loading.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's the musket's 1d12 piercing, the crossbow's 1d10, and apart from that, I suppose push versus slow, right, is the difference.
Yeah, the mastery. So let's get into the masteries.
This looks like the light thing is still the same.
Yeah, you take the attack action.
Basically,
you can make an extra attack as a bonus action.
On the same turn. Okay.
Right.
Oh, okay, so it's just 2 weapon fighting, right? So they've changed that back. Because originally they were like, you can make 2 attacks as part of the same action. It got very broken with abilities like Hex, Hunter's Mark, and what's the Paladin one? Which is probably the best one. That adds D4 to every attack you make.
Sure, or Spirit Shroud, right?
It's divine favor, and it adds 1d4 to every attack. So basically,
Right.
if you're attacking like up to 3 or 4 times a turn, even at level 1, which
Yeah.
the new ranger could do, I think it could hit 3 times a turn reliably at level 1. It got pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they've walked that back, because it was an extreme power jump at level 1
That
for
said,
those classes.
That said, I do I do want to see them bring two-weapon fighting up to, you know, heavy weapon fighting essentially. Now, granted, maybe the way that they're doing that is by nerfing Great Weapon Master, you know what I mean, stuff like that, which is fine, as long as, in my opinion, they don't like. And now we're getting off topic, I guess, but like, you know, historically in 5e particularly, spellcasters, I think everyone would probably agree, tend to be just more powerful than martial characters, right, who have no spellcasting abilities. So my hope for the next version of D&D is that they will do some things to make, you know, martials a little bit more competitive in their own right when compared to spellcasters. And so, like, okay, fine, you're going to take away, you know, the plus 10 at a minus 5 to hit from Sharpshooter and Great Weapon Master. Thank you, because those feats were so good that it was hard to justify not taking them, right?
Yeah, exactly. That was the problem.
But, like, that's where a lot of martial characters were getting their power from. So, you know, if you're going to nerf that, I'm really hoping to see them kind of bring martial characters up overall, I suppose, in power level when compared to spellcasters. Not because I hate spellcasters, but just because I guess I like a little more parity.
You want everyone to have their opportunity, to feel powerful. I mean, I think this is something that I've never heard Jeremy Crawford address this, and I don't have a way to talk to him, so he'll just have to address it publicly one day.
He
but
doesn't
I don't know
reach out
if
to you
the
on a regular basis.
He hasn't. Yeah, no, I don't
surprising.
think. Yeah. That ship might have sailed with JC, unfortunately. I do like the guy, but I think with the the Wizards of the Coast thing, he definitely got some blowback that I don't think he warranted. Anyway, the I've never heard the design team articulate, though, is the balance issue between spellcasters and martials. I don't know if it's something they're even interested in solving.
Right.
It's a serious question. Like, do they think that martials being weaker than spellcasters is a problem they're going to solve?
Right.
Or are they just going to focus on making martials feel cool and spellcasters feel cool? And if optimizers want to just break the hell out of spellcasters, they can, and martials will just never keep up.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's an issue they actually want to solve.
Because otherwise, what ends up happening, at least for me, and I'm guessing, you know, people that think the way I think, and probably you too, it's almost like I want to make a weapon using character great. It's a gish, right? You kind of have to take you're trying to find a way to get in Shadowblade, right? You're trying to find a way to, or at least get your booming blade going. You kind of have to find these ways. Or like a hex or a spirit shroud or, you know, whatever, because at the end of the day, if you can bring that kind of stuff in, haste, you know, you end up outpacing, in 5e anyway, almost all of the time a straight martial character. Just when we're talking pure damage anyway. And then shield is better than any defensive option the martials have as well, you know. So it's like you outpace in AC, you outpace in attack, you outpace in utility. There's just no competition. So that's why I love Bladesinger so much.
Yeah, me too. And I think we'll see when we get to the Fighter and Barbarian. We'll see. That'll be how we rank them, right? It's going to be, are these guys better? Then are these guys comparable to spellcasting classes? So we can kind of see that as we go.
Right.
Okay. So let's look at these mastery.
Light. Like you say, you have light weapon bonus action. Okay. So mastery properties. Each weapon now has a mastery property, as shown in the weapons table above. That property is usable only by a character who has a feature such as weapon mastery that unlocks the property for the character. Okay. So this is probably where they're going to be able to turn the dial up for martial characters, right? Because I'm guessing
I'm assuming that
are not going to get weapon
they
masters.
Won't have those features. I'm guessing there's at least going to be feats or fighting styles that give you this if it's not built right into the class itself.
Yeah, and can you get it with a small multi-class dip? Is maybe a question
that's
too.
true. Yeah.
Okay, cleave. here we go. I'm going to record today a cleave build.
That's
So
cool.
you heard it here first because it won't be out
It's
for a week and a half.
I actually
I'll be
I've made a
wearing this
video
shirt.
about the cleave. I've made a video about the cleave rule too. That's not out yet.
Nice.
So we'll see. Because this is an existing rule. Cleave's already in D&D. It's just an optional rule.
Sure. And that's not something I'm particularly familiar with. I was just kind of building around everything that I could find that let you, like, when you hit an enemy, you can do damage to somebody standing next to him.
Oh, like with green flame blade and stuff like that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. Okay.
It's bard primarily, swords bard. Anyway.
Nice.
So, okay, prerequisite, melee weapon, heavy property, has to be a heavy weapon. If you hit a creature with a melee attack using this weapon, you can make an attack roll with the weapon against a second creature within 5 feet of the first that is also within your reach. So a whole new attack. That's Hordebreaker, a hunter, ranger. On a hit, the second creature takes the weapon's damage, but don't add your ability modifier. Okay, so that's a little different unless that modifier is negative. Only once per turn. That's cool.
That is cool. Good.
Yeah.
It's just a free extra attack.
It's not a bonus action. Yeah, it's just extra attack without your modifier.
Every single turn, but it has to be against second creature within 5 feet of the first, also within reach. Okay.
So obviously, there's if you want to get into tactics, right? It's generally going to be more effective, more efficient to do all of your damage to a single enemy and try and remove them completely from combat rather than spread your damage out amongst multiple, keeping them alive, right? But still, like, free attack on an enemy standing next to him. If you've got a great magic weapon, if you're a barbarian raging, it doesn't say anything about, like, you can't add your ability modifier. It doesn't say anything about, like, other, damage on hit. You do extra damage things. So, if you've got a
hex and divine favor and rangers, hunter's mark all stacked with this. So this seems pretty good. And a good reason to try. This alone might be a reason to explore a strength-based ranger, right? Just to get that cleave. Okay, it seems decent. That's like a fine ability.
Flex. Prerequisite versatile property. When you hit with a melee attack using this weapon, you deal its versatile damage, even if you're wielding it with one hand. Okay, so it's an extra 1 damage.
Yeah, that's pretty bad in comparison to cleave, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it'll let you... I guess then maybe we get into some questions about, well, is there still going to be a dual wielder feat and I can dual wield long swords? And now I'm getting a D10 and a D10? That's...
Okay, yeah, I mean, if you could dual wield long swords, I'd need to double check. Does the dual wield feat let you do that?
Well, you can dual wield weapons that don't have, even if they don't have the light property, right?
Wow, okay, yeah, in that case...
So previously that means a D8 and a D8. Now it's a D10 and a D10. Okay.
So it's adding 2 every turn, and unlike cleave, you can do it against the same person. That's suddenly getting a bit more serious.
Sure.
2 D8 at level 1 is not nothing. That's a shadow blade, isn't it?
Yeah.
So fair enough.
All right, graze. If your attack roll with this weapon misses a creature, you can deal. You can deal damage to that creature equal to the ability modifier you used to make the attack roll. This damage is the same type dealt by the weapon, and the damage can't be increased in any way other than increasing the ability modifier. Okay, so this does specify, like, no...
I think they're trying to say no hex, no divine favor, no divine smites.
I mean, that's pretty nice for those times. Like, how many times have you, like... You've got an enemy and they have 1 hit point, you know what I mean? Or
and
I don't know.
Miss.
Yeah, and you miss, and it's just like, and their turn is next. It's just like, gosh, dang it. Like, yeah, so even, you miss them, but then you still at least just do your ability modifier and damage.
I mean, it's that question of better than nothing, right? Having a higher floor is good. Sure. Obviously, you would rather build around...
Not
always
missing.
hit it if you can, but that's an interesting one. I'd have to see how that one worked out. It's probably that's less interesting to me immediately because this is not comboable, right? This offers nothing that you could open up new opportunities. This is just kind of saying,
hey,
there is a limit to how hard I can suck.
Yes,
and it's 5 damage if I've got 20 strength, which is nice enough.
Yes, and to be fair, like I tend being like a numbers geek, right? Like I tend to be pretty interested in like what's my average number against an AC of X, Y, and Z. This feature, you know, the higher the enemy's armor class is, the better it is, right? Because you're going to be missing more often on average, and it's gonna make your average damage look better when you know you're looking at things in an
Yeah,
aggregate. So it's interesting to me. It almost reminds me of like you know, when you have a spell that does half damage on a save, that spell
it's
mathematically,
considered better.
numerically is way better, right, than like a disintegrate, which is like does a ton of damage if it hits, but if they make their save, does nothing. So even getting some damage out of a miss, I'll bet on the spreadsheet it will look good. It might not feel fun and cool and powerful, but yeah, I
And
don't
and
know.
I guess it's better on weaker weapons, right? Like
Sure.
if you're attacking with a D4 weapon,
Yeah.
that's only 2 damage if you hit. Most of your damage is actually coming from your
Right.
+5 dexterity, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that sense, it's actually like hit or miss is kind of irrelevant. You're adding 2 damage, okay, if you hit, but
But
still getting through flat
also,
5.
but also probably gets worse as your character gets more powerful when you're adding, you know, pluses to your damage and you're using flame
Yeah.
tongue long swords and things. Then you know your ability score modifier becomes less and less of the actual damage that you do.
Yeah, of course,
So
as you get magic weapons. And you hit more. I found anyway, you hit more as you go higher up.
sure.
Usually, it's trading massive damage. It's not missing so much. I mean, at least that's how monsters at high levels feel to me.
Yeah.
Players
No,
usually
I
have
think,
like
I think that
impressive,
tracks.
you know, +11s,
Yeah, you're getting.
+12s.
Yeah. All right. What about Nick? You read this one. I'm talking
Okay,
too
when
much.
you make the extra attack of the light property, you can make it as part of the attack action instead of as a bonus action. You can make this extra attack only once per turn. Okay, so this is what the old light property they
Yeah.
suggested was. So you
Okay.
can, if you have, I'm guessing Dagger has this, right? So if you
Yeah.
have 2 daggers, you can make, if you have 2 daggers, you can attack twice as your action.
Or not even 2 daggers. Correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe a short sword and a dagger, right?
Oh,
And then
right,
your
yeah.
Short
If they've got
sword,
the nick
but
property.
then your dagger has nick, so you can get an extra attack in there.
Oh, yeah. But this replaces your extra attack, right? So it's not like you can attack
can
twice as
make
your
it as
action
part-
and then
instead
make a
of-
bonus action.
Yeah.
Instead of. So this opens up the bonus action. So yeah, this definitely looks like the option for rogues, right? Where you
Yes,
still want to
that's
keep your
exactly
bonus
what I was
action
thinking.
free for your disengage
Right.
and your hide.
Yeah, and that's perfect because I get that's one thing that really frustrates me about you know, two weapon fighting as it exists in 5e right now is like there are so many great things to do with your bonus action, and yet, you know, I often feel forced to find a way to weaponize my bonus action because in the end it's going to look better on the spreadsheet, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, give me an option, even if it's, you know, a D4 weapon instead of a D6 weapon. That's not a huge deal. And it also provides a potentially interesting choice where if, like I said, you know, what was the one that we not graze? Flex. You can do the versatile damage even if you're wielding it with one hand. Okay, so now I have to choose, like, do I want a D8 and a D8, or potentially better yet, a D10 and a D10 if there's a feat for it, or, you know, but then I got to use my bonus action, or do I want like a D6 and a D4, but I get to save my bonus action, right? There's like a kind of it makes for an interesting decision, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm always looking for when I see these new rules. Is like, is this giving something new, to in a creative sense,
Right.
or is it taking it away? And
Right.
this one especially is giving something new.
Yeah.
And most of these are giving something new. I mean, all of this is extra stuff.
All right, here we go. Push. This is probably going to be my favorite, I bet. Oh, it has to be two-handed or versatile or heavy. If you hit a creature with this weapon, you can push the creature up to 10 feet away from you if it is no more than one size larger.
This
than
is
you.
this is busted. This is busto. This is the good
And
one.
all you have to do is hit. Like,
They
it's
don't
not like
make
you
a
have to
save.
crit. They don't save. If
10
you
feet
hit
away.
them, and 10 feet is a lot of movement.
And do you know what's missing from this?
What?
It doesn't say what direction. You can push someone 10 feet in the air.
Well, it does say away from you.
Oh yeah, away from you. Okay, but
so
do you think
they
I would
might
say
clarify that?
Yeah, that needs clarification. 10 feet away from you, up, is an
Sure.
extra D6 falling damage and landing prone.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be. It needs to say horizontally away from you.
Sure.
Which I think, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, they'll probably fix that. So yeah, of course, like where my mind immediately goes is Cloud of Daggers or Moonbeam.
Spike Growth is the one I'm thinking.
Spike Growth.
Yeah.
You know, all of those, you know, they take damage if they when they're moved into an area of effect or moved through an area of effect. Of course, my understanding is these things are only going to be available to like warriors, right? So then, then the question just becomes, okay, fine. Do I go warrior to X, and now I got to dip into a spellcaster so that I can pick up one of those cool spells? Ooh.
Yeah, there's that halfling that gets Spike Growth as part of their race.
Sure.
I can't remember which one it is.
Is it one of the Ravnica?
Yeah, I think it's not one of the Markov ones.
It's not Mark.
Yeah, it's not one of those. No, those ones are crazy. They're like busted races.
Yeah.
No, this is like an actual race that's like fair. I think it gets like Druidcraft and Spike Growth, but I can't remember which one it is offhand. But yeah, there's a race that gives you one of those spells.
Cool.
So yeah, I think this is going to be the best one. I struggle to imagine how anything could be better than push.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's something that you have to like set up for, whether yourself or with your party, because if you're
it's not even once per turn. I've just realized it's not even once.
You're right. So you could do it on multiple enemies or to the same enemy.
The same enemy.
Times.
You could attack them, walk up, attack them, walk up, attack them.
As long as you got the move speed. I mean,
yeah, if you've got the movement, yeah.
You know, again, though, it's almost like for just like the hey, I've never played D&D before, and like let's play Dungeons and Dragons. It's like okay, that seems kind of. But for people that are like, okay, I'm gonna build a warrior, you're gonna be a druid, you're gonna cast Spike Growth every turn, right? And then we're gonna do this, and then you're gonna grapple him, and you're gonna drag him, and like you know, it can quickly get sort of out of hand.
Forced movement is always very, very strong.
Yeah.
If you know how to use it, and it's not that hard to use it either. There's great low-level spells that let you use it. So
now the fact that they do have to be one size larger or no more than one size larger than you, of course, just increases the potency of a thing like a Rune Knight, which might not even be in the initial 5.5 player's handbook. But yeah, being able to grow so that you can continue to do this, because that's a bummer if you don't have a great way to make yourself bigger or make an enemy smaller, I guess. It would be sad to have this cool weapon property that you just straight up can't use a lot of the time, especially as you get into higher levels and start fighting huge creatures more often and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's you want there's the like fairies and is it like Durga can make themselves big. So yeah, there are some races that definitely pick well with this.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one is sap. We'll take it in turns. So this is my one. If you hit a creature with this weapon, that creature has disadvantage on its next attack roll before the start of your next turn. Okay, so that's sapping. No, sapping sting makes them fall prone. Okay. This one feels.
It's an okay like defensive move. The fact that it's just its next attack roll and not like on its turn or anything like that, it really tempers it. And
many creatures and enemy spellcasters and stuff, they don't make attack rolls; they force saves.
Right.
So this feels more limiting than push potentially at higher levels.
Yes.
Like if you're fighting Demogorgon or something, it'll just use its turn to do something else, presumably, right? I mean, your DM could work with you to make sure that it does something.
It's nice that they don't have a save against it, and for a kind of a more defensive or protection focused character, I can see it being kind of cool. At least they're getting disadvantage on one attack. Of course, if you are playing, if you're intending to make your character kind of a tank protector, a cavalier fighter, ancestral guardian, barbarian, a armorer, artificer, right? Boy, guardian, armorer.
Yeah.
Where you're hitting them and essentially applying a taunt like feature that they have disadvantage if they attack anybody but you. Then this isn't going to be any good, really. So maybe it's more for like a character who's kind of squishy, but they're up, they're playing kind of front lines, but their defense isn't maybe super great, and they want to kind of help them protect themselves, kind of thing.
Yeah, thematically it might be fun as well. If role play wise, it can be kind of cool. You kind of force them into a disadvantageous position.
Right.
But generally, in all games, all combat, whatever, it's better to be proactive with your abilities and essentially do something that benefits you, not something that relies on your enemy doing a certain thing to get any advantage.
Right.
And this relies on them making an attack at all.
Right. And then you're kind of at the mercy of your DM a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, slow. If you hit a creature with this weapon and deal damage to the creature, you can reduce its speed by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. If you hit the creature more than once with this property, the speed doesn't exceed 10 feet. Interesting that they specify it there where they didn't on push. It's like you can only do it once per turn or whatever. But you could hit multiple enemies.
You could hit multiple enemies, and it says if you hit the creature more than once with this property. So to me, that reads that if you had 2 people or 3 people, even better, and you all sort of bonk someone on the head, you could reduce their movement to 0, which would be a really fun.
So long as you all went in the initiative order before they did.
In the order, you can imagine some like bugbear shenanigans where everyone stands 10 feet away, and then you take it in turns, bonk, 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 and then they can't move.
They can't move. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah. Okay, what's next? Topple.
Yeah, okay, here's my one. If you hit a creature with this weapon, you can force the creature to make a Constitution saving throw, 8 plus proficiency plus the ability modifier you use to make the attack roll. So it does work with sort of charisma-based attacking builds or intelligence.
Finesse,
yeah. And then on a failed save, the creature falls prone, which is really good. Prone's a really good one.
It's really good. It's really good. It's a Constitution save, and that's the temperament. Like, because all other, if I'm not mistaken, I think in 5e, any like trip attack from the Battle Masters or other similar features that work like this, they're strength saves. Which, granted, strength saves usually not a great saving throw for us to be targeting either, but Constitution is definitely like the king or the queen.
Yeah, there is no
enemy saving throws.
Creatures. But prone is probably even more than push. Prone is the one that is the most exploitable. Like if you hit a flying enemy with this, they fall. They can take 20d6 damage, isn't it? Up to. So that's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, and of course, like making them prone is just automatic. Like so often when I am, trying to like min-max or optimize a character build, one thing that I'm always thinking about is, okay, how am I going to get advantage on this character? Is it Fairy Fire? Am I knocking them prone? Am I using Shadow Blade and Dim Light or Darkness? Like, Devil's Sight, the Darkness spell, like how am I getting advantage? This is just sort of built in for everybody. Now, granted, it doesn't always work. They get a save against it, and it is a con save. But there's no size restriction. So, I mean, you could be fighting a gargantuan, an ancient red dragon, and you're like this big.
Yeah, you can make the Tarrasque bow.
So I don't know. I don't know if but then again, the creatures like that are going to have legendary saves, and they're going to have a crazy, ridiculous Constitution save.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a moot point, but that's potentially really, really good.
That's probably the best one, arguably.
Yeah. All right, what about Vex? This is the last one, I think. If you hit a creature with this weapon and deal damage to the creature, you have advantage on your next attack roll against that creature before the end of your next turn.
Okay, so that's better.
And deal damage.
That's better.
No limit to how often you can use it.
You hit a creature with this weapon and deal damage.
That is
So if you hit
really
them with
good.
your first attack, you get advantage on your second attack,
Chain
meaning your
advantage.
second attack is more likely, so you get
Right.
third attack.
So
Fourth, so fighters.
all you need is a familiar.
To give you the first bit of advantage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just
You
need
take
advantage
the
on that
help
first
action,
attack.
and then you just snowball your advantage. Yeah, actually, okay, this one seems like probably
Good.
maybe the best.
That's really good.
In a vacuum.
Yeah.
In fact, yeah, I think this has got to be the best one, right? Topple might be the best in some situations.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this just seems ridiculous. Topple forces, there's saving throws, it's constitution. This is just snowballed advantage.
Yeah. I mean, granted, the chain could break, right? You could miss, and now you don't have like you're a hand crossbow user, with the crossbow expert feat or whatever, and so you're getting 3 attacks, and you action surge, so you get 5 attacks. But you hit on the first one, awesome, I got advantage. You hit on the second one, sweet, here we go. But you roll 2 5s or whatever, and it's like,
yeah, but
now I don't have advantage.
But you could still pick it up again afterwards.
That's true. If you do hit on the next one, then
so it's kind of it is really only upside. Also, like there's that the elven is it the elven accuracy feat, the one that gives you like 3
Triple,
rolls?
yes.
If you have, that's like where my mind's going with this. It's like you can build entire. I think any build that is counting on advantage for effects, or is crit fishing, I think this is going to be the one to take.
Yes.
But this actually probably just the reliability here might make Vex the best one.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't know why it's called Vex though.
And knowing this, right, it really changes now these weapons. So, for example, the blowgun has Vex. It's like, oh, well, that's pretty good then. Of course, so does the hand crossrow. So hand crossbow's better.
And they both have loading. You'd need to get rid of the loading property to make the most of Vex.
Yeah.
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 Because that limits how many attacks you can make. Yeah, you'll have to take a feat to make that work.
But like the pistol. So like, do you want a pistol or a musket? Well, the musket does D12. Yeah, but the pistol has Vex, so pistol. Like,
yes.
I mean, the musket has slow. And so in certain situations that's nice, but yeah, generally speaking, like you only need one hand for it, so you can free up your other hand for whatever reason, if you if you need it for spellcasting, I don't know, something. And
I think
it's got the better mastery.
It's much better, and I can see the short sword has Vex too at the top, so
really?
You can even use it on some.
Oh, it does. I thought that it was only on ranged weapons. Yeah,
the short sword would be the way for fighters to go with it. So yes, you might not be. I mean, if it can be on finesse weapons, maybe the rapier is the best with a D8.
Let's check. We got to check the rapier now.
I would guess maybe it has Nick.
Vex.
Oh no, it has Vex. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so perfect.
New best weapon.
Yeah. So the rapier is probably the best weapon in D&D now. Okay. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, a rapier fighter would be the, unless it's debatable because the short sword you can make that extra attack. So for a rogue, maybe short sword's slightly better. For a fighter,
and you've got questions of, well, do you need your bonus action? Okay, fine, then go with go with a dagger if you're 2-weapon fighting, or maybe you rapier and dagger, I guess, is probably what you want to do. You rapier first attack, rapier second attack, because now you still have advantage, and then rapier third attack with your dagger, because you're done, right? You don't need to keep the chain going. Something like that.
I think there's a lot of value in 2-weapon fighting because of these abilities, because 2 weapons gives you the option of which one you want to apply, or both in a turn.
Right.
Whereas if you have 1 weapon, it's always just the one thing. So that is worth thinking about.
Yeah, that's exciting. Okay, shoot, we're taking forever, but I don't know. I don't mind as long as you.
I mean, it's just a chill. It's a chill video, It's extra. There's too much in this to go through and make a video about everything. Like each thing, it would dominate the content cycle for weeks. So. Okay,
so let's maybe go over the adventuring gear. The net, when you take the attack action on your turn, you can replace one of your attacks with a throw of the net at a creature within 15 feet of you. Okay, so it's taking one of your attacks. They get a dex save. against your DC that's based on your dex modifier, not anything else.
Not, yeah, okay.
The target succeeds automatically if it's huge or larger, so it only works on larger, smaller creatures. On a failed save, they're restrained until it escapes the net. They got to make an athletics check. Destroying it also frees it. So yeah, I mean, it just kind of it just makes the net, I don't know, a little, feels to me a little less restrictive, because before it was a weapon and it had this weird
It was
thing.
always disadvantage.
Yes, exactly, because it was 5 feet or disadvantage at a longer range, but then you had to take like a crossbow expert feat or something to
Just
not
to throw it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like anybody can use it. It takes one of your attacks, but restrained is pretty punishing.
It's a 0 movement is the restrained one, isn't it?
And you have advantage on attacks against them, and they have disadvantage on their attacks.
Oh, okay, yeah. Again, this is another one that feels good against flying enemies too. If you can catch, if you can catch something in the air that's large, which isn't, most of the big flyers are big, but
it's pretty easy to get out of, but it's going to take their turn. So regardless of how easy it might be to get out of, they're going to waste their turn, you know, tearing up the net or whatever. And then on your turn, you could just throw another one. So as long as you've got the gold to spend.
Yeah, it takes and it doesn't say they destroy the nets if they make an escape. It just says they escape.
That's true.
So you could potentially pick up your net at the end of combat.
They destroy it if they destroy
if
AC
they
of 10,
it,
5 hit points. But immunity to bludgeoning, and a lot of monsters have do bludgeoning damage, so you know their only hope might be to make the athletics check in that case. But yeah, I mean it's interesting. It's like, you know what, this is an arrow in the quiver, right? Keep some nets on you, because there's going to be times where like it will be a really great tool to pull out. And so even if it's not something that you're doing all the time, it's cool that like it makes sense for you to have a few nets on hand. Okay, so let's skip all the spell stuff for now. It's going over the arcane spell list. It's giving a description of like all these different spells, which we'll probably want to revisit some of these when
down the line,
part 2.
Yeah. Okay, so we're at the Barbarian.
Barbarian. Here are the main updates in this class, most of which were inspired by the Player's Handbook Survey in 2021. Rage can now be extended with a bonus action each round. Taking damage doesn't extend it, but forcing someone to make a saving throw does. The focus is now on what you do, not on what's done to you. Also, the playtest Rage can last for 10 minutes rather than 1 minute. Finally, Rage is now stopped by the incapacitated condition. Okay. So yeah, I mean, because that would be annoying, right? If you're like, I'm not in range to make an attack against anybody and I didn't take any damage this round, my rage ends. Now, you could always carry some javelins with you and just like throw it at somebody or whatever, but
yeah,
that's kind of nice. And,
right. So you use a bonus action to extend it.
Right. So like worst case scenario, you're like, crap, they're 40 feet away. You know, I use all my movement, I'm still not in range, and like I guess I could dash, but now I can't attack, and my rage is gonna drop. Well, you can bonus action keep your rage going.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree. Yeah. That seems like a purely an upside, right? That's just awesome.
Although I'm a little annoyed, I'll say, that taking damage doesn't extend it, right? Like it says here, because it used to either you had to make an attack or if you took damage, and so now it's like, feels like they're saying, we don't like that rage could end early. But
here's a new way for it to end early.
Here's a then, you know. So it's like, okay, fine, you're giving me the power, and that's appreciated. But yeah, it's almost like
thematically it makes sense for taking damage to extend your rage. If someone punches you in the balls, you're gonna get pissed off, or you're gonna stay pissed off. So that always made sense to me. I guess they didn't like that people could... The meme, right, is you slap yourself with Alchemist's Fire. You take 2 damage every turn, but your rage is guaranteed. Yeah. Maybe that's what they're trying to stop.
Yeah. Or you just punch yourself, yeah.
Or you punch yourself in the face, yeah. But I don't think that was a problem, so...
Now, here's something, before we continue, I don't want to skip over this chart here, because... like barbarians are getting rage, unarmored defense, weapon mastery. So you're getting 2 weapon masteries with just a single level dip.
Okay.
And that's really good and might make, a rogue is like almost always going to want to dip into like a fighter or a barbarian or whatever, I'm guessing, just to get weapon masteries, assuming that they don't innately get weapon masteries. I don't think they do.
No, I'm guessing they won't because they're part of the expert class, not the warrior class.
Yeah. Here's something that disappoints me. Rage damage scaling still sucks. 2, it goes up to 3 at 9th level. And 4 at 16th. Like, that's so paltry.
Oh, I was reading the weapon mastery for Rage, and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. Three weapon mastery. Yeah, this is bad. In fact, isn't this worse? Didn't Rage damage used to scale with proficiency?
No.
Haven't they made this?
No, it should have. Okay. No, it should have.
Yeah, I think I ruled that it. Maybe I just home ruled that
that's
years
homebrew.
ago.
Good. That's a good homebrew. Yeah, I mean, when you're getting, 9th level to get 1 more damage per attack, that's just like...
No, it's bad, yeah.
Barbarians in 5e, my opinion, are one of the worst scaling classes in the game. Like, first 3 levels and, maybe up to 5 for extra attack are phenomenal. They're like some of the best. And then, but like taking Barbarian past 5 is almost never a good idea, right?
I think, and that's part of the problem. They are so front-loaded that I think they're among the most boring classes to play across a long game because your play pattern at level 2, where you reckless attack and attack, is basically your play pattern for the entire game, and nothing ever changes.
And it's really good. It's really good, right?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
guaranteed advantage, a little extra damage per hit, resistance to damage, right, from rage.
It's probably worth noting, though, that they are significantly worse thanks to the Vex property. If anyone can access that advantage really easily now,
sure,
that reckless attack is suddenly just bad Vex. Like, why would you reckless attack to get advantage, but everyone has advantage against you when you can just have a Vex weapon and you get advantage for no cost?
Sure, as long as you keep hitting. So to be fair,
as long as you keep hitting,
guaranteed advantage no matter what is a little better for sure. But it has to be strength based, so you're kind of limited in stuff like that.
And it's just taking away a bit of that special factor. Yeah.
All right, so let's keep going with the changes. It says weapon mastery. We've gone over that. Primal knowledge is a new 2nd level feature which unlocks non-combat functionality for Rage. Okay, well, that'll be interesting. We'll get into that when we get in the subclass, I guess. Danger sense has been merged with feral instinct. Limitations on its use have been removed. Oh,
that was the dex saves.
Yes.
Okay, so it looks like they've put, if it's merged with feral instinct, it'll be kicked down. It'll be a bit later in the game then.
Indomitable might has moved from 18th to 9th level.
Okay.
Brutal critical moved from 9th level to 11th. Not a good feature already, and its extra damage has been increased. Okay, and scales. Okay, let's get into the details.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what it gives. Persistent rage is 15th to 13th.
Okay,
that probably won't matter at all with this new, unless they've changed it. If you can keep it going as a bonus action anyway, persistent rage is probably
right. But the fact that, and we just kind of glossed over this, rage lasts for 10 minutes. That's potentially really good. Kind of depends on your table. Let me ask you this: like, how many combat encounters do you typically have between long rests at most tables that you've played at?
Yeah, honestly, it's like 2 a day at most is how most games play.
Yeah. I mean, that seems to be my understanding too, and I've done polls on this and read all the subreddits, right? Like 2 to 4, right? It seems to be fairly typical. Now, that said, there have been times where I've been doing like a real just like dungeon crawl, right? And and it's hard to like take a long rest in the middle of a dungeon when you could be surrounded by enemies, right? And so sometimes in those situations, sure, you might be like having 4, 5, 6, 7 combat encounters without getting a long rest, and maybe you're peppering some short rests in there. So, in those situations, yeah, absolutely, having rage last for 10 minutes can potentially really save you, because you are still only getting 2 rages a day, 3, then up to 4 by level 6. So that's nice.
I think, that is more useful. And Oh, actually, roll that back. Didn't barbarians get infinite rages at level 20 before? Wasn't it like unlimited when you got to level 20?
I thought it was 8. Is that not the
Is that wild shape? Is that I'm thinking of wild shape?
Yes, you're thinking
Yeah,
wild
okay.
shape.
No, that's my bad then.
Persistent Rage was a 15th level feature that it's like I can't remember exactly what it does because I never take barbarians to 15 levels.
Yeah.
So it's not something I would discuss often. I know that it did something to like let you extend your rage.
Yeah, it can't end early. It always lasts the full minute, no matter what. So, yeah. I guess the benefit now is that it won't end early, even if you don't use a bonus action. I mean, we'll have to see what these do. I mean, what's the next one there? The Rage Resurgence.
Relentless Rage. It's moved from 11th to 15th. And rather than restoring you to 1 hit point, this is when you go unconscious. You can bounce, right? Back up with, instead of restoring you to 1 hit point, restores a number of hit points equal to twice your barbarian level. I mean, this change will help prevent the barbarian from immediately dropping back to 0 hit points. It will, but like at 15th level, monsters are hitting you for 20, 30, 40 damage, potentially.
That's true, but it is halved for totem barbs, right? And this might buy you an extra turn compared to just coming back at 1 hit point.
Okay, so here's the question, because if you're incapacitated, your rage ends. So does Relentless Rage, like, do you go unconscious and then come back from unconscious, or do you just not go unconscious? That's the question, right? Because
I think you drop to 1 instead, but it will explain down below.
Yes, because you're right though. You're right then. Like if you're still raging, then a monster hits you for 30, but on you it's 15 probably. Then you're probably still standing.
And you're bouncing back up to 30 hit points, which is not nothing.
Rage Resurgence.
So Rage Resurgence is 17th level feature. It's a new one. It restores the use of rage whenever you roll initiative. Oh, because of this feature, the barbarian doesn't get unlimited uses of rage. Okay, so before so at 20th level it did. But I mean, restoring a use of rage whenever you roll initiative is basically unlimited, right?
Yeah.
You'll never go into combat not with a rage available. Right. So it seems decent. Isn't there that used to be the old monk and sorcerer capstone, wasn't it? Where they used to get sorcery points when they roll initiative or key points when they roll initiative. So makes sense.
Primal Champion has moved from 20th to 18th. This is the one that gave you +4 to strength and con, right?
Yeah, and it could extend beyond 20.
Yeah, now it's only 2. You're getting a +2 to strength and con. But it's moved up to 18th level, so you still get
It's 2 levels earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe if you're...
And you do still get an epic boon. Right.
A 20th level, feature, and moving that 20th level, it opens up the door for like the fighter barbarian. You can pick up action surge, and you take the rest in barbarian. Sure. It's potential.
Sure.
I don't think that needed to be changed to 2. Barbarians weren't broken.
No.
But fair enough.
All right. So quickly, hit dice is the same. Hit points. Yep. Proficiencies look the same. Weapons, etc. Armor training, same.
It's the same, yeah.
Starting equipment, it's irrelevant because we get money. Multi-classing in the Barbarian. Oh, if Barbarian isn't your initial class, you gain proficiency with martial weapons when you take your first Barbarian level, okay? Armor training,
okay, so you don't get medium
armor. Right.
So you will not pick up medium armor, you only pick up shields.
Okay.
So that makes the Barbarian rogue... You're going to want to take the level in Barbarian first and then rogue.
Sure. Unless you want to be a skill monkey and get extra skills.
Yes, true. Okay, so it's a bit more to think about that. Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, let's get into rage. Bonus action, you just can't be wearing heavy armor.
That's the same.
Yeah, damage resistance, bludgeoning, piercing, slashing. Make an attack with a weapon or an unarmed strike using strength. Still has to use strength. And deal damage. Gain a bonus. Yep. Okay, that's pretty much the same. It looks like strength advantage, strength checks, strength saves. That's the same. Can't maintain concentration. Can't cast spells. Yep, that's the same.
That's all the same.
So no big changes there.
So primal knowledge is new, right? On the other side. So rage is the same. Primal knowledge is a new one.
Yes.
So that gives you gain proficiency in another skill of your choice. So that gives you another skill proficiency, which is always nice. And then when your rage is active, you can channel primal power when you attempt certain tasks. Whenever you make an ability check using one of the following skills, you can make it as a strength check, even if it normally uses a different ability. Acrobatics, intimidation, perception, stealth, or survival.
Okay.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So you don't. It makes the barbarian less mad, right?
Yeah.
You can get your. I mean, perception is a wonderful skill to have. So being able to just think about how muscular your eyes must be to be able to like strength perception.
Well, or strength stealth. Like I'm so strong that you can't see me. I mean, the way that they word it is that you're channeling primal power when you attempt certain tasks.
Yeah.
You know what? And that's cool because, again, rage lasts 10 minutes now, right? And so if you're in a dungeon crawl and you just finish a combat and you're pretty sure there's a group of, goblins waiting for you around the corner, well, let's see if we can get surprised or whatever. And like we all stealth, like I'm still raging and I've got a pretty good stealth check because I've got an 18 strength or whatever. That seems
really
cool.
Good actually. Nothing that's gonna break barbarians wide open.
No, because it's utility stuff.
It's something that they needed. There's optional rules in Tasha's that give you extra proficiencies as well. So this is definitely something they've explored before. What else is new?
I think reckless attack is the same. This bothers me. I wish that they had changed it. Reckless attack it's just on attacks during your turn. So like if you have an opportunity attack, a reaction attack,
doesn't count. Yeah, I agree.
It's like, what? That's weird.
I know. I think most players forget that as well. It's definitely one of those actually rules.
Yeah.
Actually, you don't get advantage on your reaction attack. It's like, come on. I'll give you advantage on your reaction attack.
Attack rolls against you have advantage until the start of your next turn. So why? I don't know. That's just that's weird. And again, it's not like the barbarian's broken and they're just making tons of reaction attacks all the time or anything. Indomitable might. So wait. So
this got knocked down.
Right, that's right. If a total for a strength check is less than your strength score, you can use that score in place of the total. Wait, isn't this new? Or was this just a feature that
used to be like level
later?
13.
That's right.
But now that you can use strength for your stealth and stuff.
Right. That's right.
So with a 20 strength at this level, your flat minimum would be 25.
Right.
Oh, and it's in place of your total. It'd be in place of your total, so you don't get to add your ability score to it. But yeah, so you're a guaranteed 20 perception, 20 stealth, 20 acrobatics, 20 athletics.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, it's not your modifier, it's your score. And again, like you said, a strength check. Since now, you can use strength for lots of different skill checks. Like Barbarians just became a pretty good skill monkey. At least at level 9. I mean, that's a big investment,
it's a big. But that's about the time that rogues get their reliable talent, right? I think they get that at level 11 10? Or 10. At level 10, so it's about the same time.
Yeah.
The best one will still be the Silver Tongue Bard, whatever subclass that is. I can't remember. Where you can't roll lower than a 9. But after that, this is good utility for a martial class.
For sure.
You're probably a better face at this point than your paladin is.
Oh yeah.
Where if you can just guarantee a 20 on every intimidation,
right.
That's pretty crazy.
All right, let's check brutal critical here because this was a bad.
They said this was new. Yeah, you take this one.
When you score a critical hit with a weapon or an unarmed strike using strength, the target takes extra damage equal to your barbarian level. That damage is the same type dealt by the weapon. Okay, that is better. I mean, before it was like I used a great axe, so I get an extra d12. So instead of 2d12, I'm rolling 3d12. Well, now it's just 11 damage, right? At level 11.
That's strictly better as an average. That is.
Yeah. It is, but really, if we're using a great axe, it's on average a great axe is going to do 6.5 damage, so we're talking 4.5 damage on average, and that will vary obviously.
Yeah, sometimes it'll change, but it does go up. Over time.
And it's
and
also
Barbarians
nice that,
attack at advantage, you
yeah,
crit double the amount of time.
right. You multi-class into champion fighter to increase your crit, and I mean, yeah, it's better. It still doesn't feel amazing to me, but hey, it's a bump. It's a buff. No
Yeah,
question.
they one of the design goals that they haven't articulated, but if you read between the lines, I think is very clear from the rules they're implementing, is they want to reduce the swinginess of D&D.
Yeah.
And that means making critical hits just not do what they used to do. They've taken away the sneak attack crits, no more critting on divine smites.
Right.
And now, yeah, and this again, it reduces the swinginess. Your critical hit is not going to do just one; it's always going to do the same.
Yeah.
Which is your level.
Good. Yeah.
Do you feel like this barbarian is significantly different enough to justify a new book? Because that's always what I'm thinking about here. Is
first impression, they're pretty much the same. I mean, the biggest difference is the weapon specialization. Not the barbarian.
Weapons, yeah, there isn't much different to this. It's that to me the only significant difference is the strength check thing.
Yeah,
which I know a lot of DMs did anyway. You can intimidate off strength.
Yeah, they get utility. They get some utility bumps. Brutal critical is better. I still don't know that I would say it's a good feature, but it's better. I would love to see them do more with rage damage. It needs to scale. To justify taking more levels in Barbarian, I think your rage has to scale more. Fighters at level 11 get another attack, right? Well, I guess we'll see.
Yes,
maybe they don't.
Of course. No, I think I saw someone discussing, I think fighters keep their 4 attacks by level 20 or whatever it is.
So at level 11, you get a third attack. Like, considering magic weapons and things you can do to add damage to your weapons and all of this stuff, that is like so much better than brutal critical, even, which it only works if I crit, and then it's just 11 more damage or whatever. Like, sure, the barbarian's also adding rage, but by level 11 they're adding 3 damage to each swing. Like, it's not enough.
It's true.
It's not
enough.
I
don't think this is a problem I think they're gonna have to. This is a marketing problem for Wizards of the Coast, right? But it's like, is this stuff going to be enough that people are going to buy books they already own again? They really want people to buy the book again, right? Wouldn't that be wonderful if everyone just dropped another $180? That's what they want. But so far, I haven't seen anything that doesn't feel like it should have just come out in like its own compendium. Like you could have put the weapon mastery stuff in any old book. Or something like that. I think I don't think this barbarian is new enough. I don't think there's anything here that's going to get me that I would honestly recommend someone buy this book off this barbarian,
right?
For example.
Yeah, well, let's see what they do with the subclass, and maybe that will sway us.
Yeah, maybe it'll change. Yeah.
So the Berserker, which I did one build with the Berserker once because so punishing, right? Like, I love the idea of being able to make an extra bonus action attack with like a great sword, but there were it was so easy to get around because you just use a polearm instead. And and it's a very small damage difference, doing a halberd and then getting like a butt of the halberd.
Yeah, the polearm master feat filled its niche entirely, didn't it?
And so Berserker was just like, why would you ever do a Berserker? Because you get exhaustion, right? Exhaustion. You basically can use it once a day, punishing. And exhaustion is just Now they've changed exhaustion, haven't they? And
they have,
like
it's not so bad now, but I can see it here. So yeah, we'll dive into the features.
Tell me about Frenzy here.
Okay, you can go into a Frenzy in battle. If you reckless attack while your rage is active, you deal extra damage to the first target you hit on your turn with a strength-based attack. To determine the extra damage, roll a number of d6s equal to your rage damage bonus and add them together. So it would be an extra 2d6 on your first attack each turn at level 3.
Okay, so it is only if you hit. Okay, if you use reckless, you deal extra damage to the first target you hit on your turn with a strength-based attack. Yeah, okay.
So it is only once per turn.
It is only once per turn, but it's 2d6. That's
Which is about what it was
good.
before, right? That's about what it was. I mean, before it was dealing 2d6 plus your ability modifier.
Sure,
because
but it was
you were
costing
making
your,
an extra attack.
it was costing your bonus action.
Bonus action.
And it was giving you exhaustion. Which was the real problem, right?
And this goes up to 3d6 at level 7
9.
or whatever it is, or 9.
Yeah, 9.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty
so
bad.
I mean, so it scales decently. Well, I don't know, does it? An extra d6 after 9 levels.
3d6. You're finishing the game with it at 4d6.
Yeah. Again, like
I mean, it's not nothing.
Enemy hit points, right? Scale so much more than like a d6 worth of HP in 9 levels. Now, granted, you have 4 party members, 5 party members, but still, it definitely does not keep pace with, the scaling that monsters are getting. Which I don't know that that's necessarily what you have to do, but yeah, it's just like the real issue for me is, is this compelling enough to like take more levels in Barbarian rather than multi-class? And now I love to multi-class and I think it makes it interesting. So I don't want them to make it a no-brainer that you never want to multi-class either. I don't want them to swing too far the other way.
Of course.
Where it's just like, you'd be crazy to multi-class because everything gets so much better and you're so much stronger with more levels in the same class. So it's a tricky balance to try and strike, where it's like, okay, like this is really good, like you want to keep doing Barbarian, or it's also good if you were to multi-class into Fighter or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's better. It's definitely better, no question.
It's better. It's maybe less flavorful, but sure. I know that doesn't matter to many people as well.
Yeah.
I mean, let's compare this to the Totem Barbarian, right? Does this make the Berserker comparable with the Bear Totem or the Wolf Totem? I don't think so. So, of course, maybe those will get reworked as well, but at the moment, this still feels like a not a great ability, but fine.
I would more compare it to the Zealot Barbarian, because currently, like if you're just looking for damage, Zealot Barbarian is kind of
that was the one you'd go for.
The way to go. This is better, damage-wise anyway. 2d6 as opposed to 1d6. Now, who knows what the Zealot Barbarian will end up looking like, if it'll even be in the player's handbook. But still, I don't know. 2d6 is not terrible. And yeah, no exhaustion. And you still have your bonus action. So you can still find a way to weaponize it or do something else. Okay, Mindless Rage. You have immunity to the Charm to Frighten conditions while your rage is active. If you're Charmed to Frighten when you're under rage active, I think that's the same. And yeah, everything else looks pretty much the same, I think.
Pretty much the same.
They switched 10th and 14th features. 14th. Reaction to make a melee attack, but you're not going to have advantage, even if you're recklessly attacking.
yeah. It's pretty much the same as it was. It's not a bad ability at all.
No, and it's nice that they moved it up.
Yes.
And Intimidating Presence.
This was always this guy's level 10 ability.
Level 10, okay.
It's okay. Each creature of your choice within 30 feet of you, so you can hit a whole horde of people. I mean, mechanically, it's better. As a DM, that kind of makes me go, sigh. Like imagine tracking Frightened for like 15 different creatures or 6 different, even just 6 different creatures. That can be a bit of a pain.
Sure.
But Frightened is not a bad condition. It's disadvantage on their attack rolls, right?
And they can't move closer to you.
They can't move closer to you. So, I mean, of course, you want them to be close to you, but the disadvantage is significant. Right. But no, they do get to save at the end of the turn. So there's going to be a lot of dice rolling from this ability, which might be a little tedious.
Okay, yeah. Once you use it, you can't use it again until long rest. So there's only once per day.
Unless you use a rage to do it again.
Unless you expend one of your rage uses.
Which is maybe worth it if you're not having many fights a day.
Sure. All right. So that is the Barbarian. I guess we've kind of already given a little bit of our final verdict, but yeah, I don't know that mine's changed very much. I mean, it's better. Like, it's no question, it's stronger.
They've made it stronger I don't think they've changed anything significantly about like the flavor or anything like that. I think if Barbarian wasn't your thing before, it won't be your thing now.
Sure.
But yeah, in a vacuum, yeah. If they gave you two options, do you want to play the old Barbarian or the new Barbarian? The new Barbarian is strictly better.
Right.
But again, yeah, I wouldn't. If someone was like, "Is it worth buying this book to play this Barbarian?" I would say no. It's not enough has changed to justify a whole new.
And for me, I think the most important question is, is it worth taking Barbarian past, level 2, maybe level 3 for a subclass feature, maybe level 5 if you need that extra attack?
Yeah, it's iffy, isn't it?
Probably not. Still, it will depend on what other subclass features there are on the other subclasses. But yeah, it still feels like something that, like, if I'm making a strength-based martial character, I'm going to dip Barbarian, for those awesome front-loaded, amazing abilities, and then I'm going to be a paladin or a fighter or whatever.
Yeah, just roll the rest away.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, well. Into fighters then, yeah.
Yeah, let's check out fighters. Okay, so first of all, let's go over the chart here. So just to see if anything pops out. Fighting style, second wind. Weapon mastery. You do get more weapon masteries. There's 3 instead of the 2 for the Barbarian.
Okay,
that makes sense. Action surge still 2nd level. Fighter class, subclass at 3, feat, extra attack, subclass feature, weapon expert. That's a new 7th level feature we'll be looking at. Indomitable still there, but I hear it's been buffed. Subclass feature at 10. Oh wait. We're not getting the extra ability score increases or feats that fighters were getting, right? You'd get an extra one at level 6.
Yeah.
You'd get an extra one at level, was it 10?
Rogues got theirs at level 10. I can't remember when fighters got those, but you're right.
14.
Yes,
it was 14.
It was 14. Yeah, they don't give you. That's interesting. Oh, that's a shame. I love that feature, actually. That was like one of my favorite things about fighters. It let you customize more.
Yeah, it is kind of nice. I feel like I appreciate a little bit the sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Like the way that they're kind of taking all the classes and say, okay, everybody gets their subclass at 3rd level. Everybody gets ability score increases at 4, 8, 12, and 16. It's true. Like it's kind of nice in that it makes those 1 and 2 level dips into like warlock or cleric or sorcerer or wizard or druid, a little less like easy.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it was also quite a lazy feature. At the risk of not popping off on anyone, but just throwing.
What do we do for fighters at 6? I don't know. Just give them another ability score.
Okay, they can have another one. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter, right? Like it's essentially bland.
Yeah, fighters are already vanilla enough, right?
Giving them a little extra stuff will not hurt.
So that's good to make them a little less vanilla.
And okay.
Improved action surge at 15th level. Don't know what that is.
No, I don't know what that is. Oh wait, actually, maybe it means they can use it twice. Couldn't they do that before? I can't remember. I think you get like.
Oh yeah.
So it's probably like
you're right.
You can actually surge twice per long rest.
It's probably
or short rest.
I'm gonna pull up fighter over here on D&D Beyond just to, if I need to compare things.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then action surge, and then unconquerable is a new one.
Unconquerable
at 17th.
Your 3 extra attacks come at 18th level now instead of 20th, but then you get the epic boon. Okay, let's get into the nitty gritty. So
down we go.
Hit points the same. Yep, con mod. Yep. Proficiencies, saving throws the same. Skills I'm not quite sure, but probably the same. Armor training, weapon training, all the same.
Yes, and the it says that the multi-class gets you the same, the medium armor, shields.
Right. Yeah. So here's the multi-classing. Yeah, ability score minimum a 13th in strength or dex. That's the same. Martial weapons and armor training with light, medium, and shield, but not heavy. Okay.
I guess that's why they took it away from barbarians to give fighters a little more interest. Yeah, as a multi-class.
Okay. So you get your fighting style. Second wind looks the same, D10 plus fighter level in hit points, but it's twice per short rest, not once. Sorry, twice per long rest, not once per short rest. And
Okay,
then
and it
goes
increases in the table. Yeah,
as per the
was it
table,
tied to
which
proficiency?
second
Not quite
one.
tied to proficiency, is it?
Looks
Oh,
like
it
it
is. No.
scales at the same rate that Rage was scaling for Barbarians, or something close. So
Yeah,
at fourth
something
level, you
close.
get a third use. At 10th level, you get a fourth use. Okay. So
Okay.
that could be better or worse depending on how it's run
Yes,
at the
how
table.
you run the games.
How many
yeah,
short
yeah.
rests you are getting.
Functionally, it's about the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
Give or take. For most of the game, anyway.
Weapon mastery. Okay, we know about weapon masteries. Oh, is this the same or different for barbarians, that they can swap it out with a long rest? They can swap out their weapon mastery with a long rest. That's nice, because then you find a magical battle axe, right? And you're like,
yes, you can swap.
I don't have
Yeah,
mastery.
Yeah.
Okay, action surge. Read this.
So
I need to think.
Yeah, you can push yourself beyond your normal limits for a moment. On your turn, you can take one additional action. That's the same, right? Chosen from the following action options: attack, dash, disengage, or dodge.
Okay.
Once per short or long rest.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like that they changed it.
No more fireball, action surge, fireball, right?
Yeah. No more. Yeah, that was the big thing with action surge. No more spike growth, action surge, eldritch blast 4 times through the spike growth. You know.
Right. You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I like it, and so let's fight. Tell me why you don't like it. Maybe you've already said.
No, I like the. Okay, I can understand why, right? I can understand why, because the problem with Action Surge was that it takes the fighter's iconic thing, and it is just so much more powerful when used by spellcasters. So for that reason, in fact, you know what? I talked myself out of it. Yeah, it's better. It's fairer.
That was the worst fight ever.
But the problem is that it was such a cool. Yeah, it was such a cool option for spellcasters. But I agree. I mean, sometimes stuff is just overpowered, right?
Yeah,
and this was one of those. It was just too strong.
So for those who don't know, like on my channel, I'll do builds. Sometimes I'll do a build for like a sustained damage. You can do this much damage every single turn. Sometimes I'll do builds. This is a burst damage build, and you're gonna blow all of your resources on one turn and just do 5 million damage, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's almost impossible to do a burst damage build and not take action surge, regardless of whether you're a bard or a sorcerer or a wizard or a fighter or a barbarian or a rogue. It doesn't matter. If you're burst damage, action surge is so good, right? And now, at least, it's really only so good for martial characters, for characters that are making attacks. And I have to say that, like, yeah, it just feels like it's not just a must. Like, you gotta do a 2-level dip into fighter for like almost everything. Now, that said, you could still use this to great effect on a Gish. You could cast a spell with your first action surge, and make weapon attacks, right?
Yeah, on a Blade Singer type situation,
right,
you can totally see the value in
or that. You cast Cloud of Daggers, action surge, hit with your maul that has the push weapon specialization feature, and now you're pushing them into Cloud of Daggers, where they take damage upon entering and at the beginning of their next turn. So it's still really good. It's just not quite as good.
Yeah, it forces you to combo your spells with an attack action, not with another spell. Right. Which seems, you're right. That is inherently less breakable.
Yeah,
so, I mean, no more Wall of Force Cloud Kill.
Ultimately.
Oh no, sorry. Does, that was double concentration. But there are combos that don't have double concentration. That was silly.
Ultimately, what this is just kind of a nerf to spellcasters. Which maybe gets back to our earlier point, right? About are marshals and casters going to be more closely balanced? And this is kind of a step in that direction anyway.
It must have been a little. It was a little bit of a kick in the balls to fighters to have their best feature be
better
be so much
on
stronger
other
on everyone
yeah.
else.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
this keeps it to them, which is fair. Okay, cool. The rest is
what
mostly the
feats,
same.
extra attacks. Wait a minute. 5th level feat. You gain the ability score improvement feat or
Oh, so you do get an extra feat. You get
and
a
it's
feat at 4th
earlier.
level, and you get a feat at 5th level. Oh, I missed that entirely.
Wow. All
Unless
right, so
that's not a miss. That's not like an error, right? Is that in the table?
I don't think so.
I didn't spot it in the table.
5th level extra
No,
attack feat.
extra feat. Okay, no, they did it on purpose. Yeah, so it's just like a bam, bam, one after another.
So
okay.
They made it better even.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. Subclass feature. Right. Weapon expert. So at 7th level weapon expert, whenever you finish a long rest, you can choose one of the kinds of mastery weapons you're using and replace this mastery property with another mastery property. Oh, the chosen kind of weapon. Oh, so this is why they have
the prerequisites.
The prerequisites, right. So you could replace the longsword's flex property with the push property. Interesting. Okay. And this is a fighter. This is unique to fighters.
Yeah, so I guess fighter is the only one that can do this. That seems okay. I mean, it begs the question. You'd probably just use a different weapon altogether, right? You have proficiency with every weapon. Oh, I know why. It's because if you have a great magic sword, right? If you have an amazing magic sword, but you want the battle axe. Okay, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's mostly for like magic weapons.
Yeah. It makes sense. It's an ability that makes sense to give fighters. I don't know if it's really that strong.
No,
but it makes sense.
And the nice thing is that you can do it with a long rest too. So you could be like, oh hey, like I love my longsword, but like my druid just started casting spike growth recently, like so now I'm gonna make this switch and I'm gonna be able to keep my longsword, but I'm gonna start pushing with it or whatever.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But then change it up the next day because whatever, my druid died. We got a better spell. Okay.
I've just thought of something actually. Just throwing out a prediction.
Yeah.
I mean, if they watch this video, steal this idea. They should, for monks, they should make one of the base monk abilities that you get to add just one of these to your unarmed strikes.
For sure.
That you just get to choose to add any of them to your unarmed strike. I think that would make a lot of sense.
And I will say, as an aside, based on what we've seen from the Barbarian, which I feel was, I don't know if underpowered is the right word, but like front-loaded and poorly scaling is how I would describe the Barbarian. I'm nervous for monks. Because like they didn't do enough to make Barbarian scale better. Yeah,
that's true, but they really overcorrected on Ranger, but vice versa. The new Ranger was crazy. Like with like double concentration spells from level 1 and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I could see it go either way. There's plenty of great homebrew solutions to monk. I've published a homebrew solution to monk. So if they're willing to nick the weapon mastery options from a homebrew, they can presumably just look at some homebrew fixes to monk and just steal them. They're all good. There's loads of ways to fix it.
Oh yeah, there are lots of people. Treant Monk Chris, he's put out lots of good videos about upgrading fixes to monks. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Chris is great as well.
All right, let's check out Indomitable. If you fail a save, you can re-roll it with a bonus equal to your fighter level. Thank you. That's actually useful now. If you do so, you must use the new roll, and you can't use this feature again until... Okay, so it's still just once per long rest. I mean, it still doesn't, like, knock my socks off.
It doesn't guarantee... It's not like an instant success, but it's a better...
Way better.
Lucky... Isn't it really? So kind of like a better. Look, I mean, it's got to be on a saving throw.
The problem with Indomitable, right, was that like you're making a saving throw, you fail the save, and you get to re-roll it, but like you're probably gonna fail it again. You know what I mean? Because
like, if it was a wisdom save and you're at -1 anyway, right?
When it really matters,
you've got to beat an 18.
Yeah. When it really matters, it's worthless. And so being able to add a fighter level, I mean, that's +9 to your roll. That's significant.
Yes, and by level 20 it will be guaranteed success. It's a 21 minimum at level 20, which is enough for anything apart from like CR 30 creatures. That's enough.
Right. Oh, that's much better. I mean, it's still not my favorite thing, but it's much better. Okay, subclass feature, 2 extra attacks at 11th level. Weapon adept. This is new, right?
Yeah, okay. So when you use your weapon expert feature on a kind of weapon, you can give that kind of weapon 2 properties rather than 1. But then you only use 1 property at a time.
Oh.
Which is a shame. That would have been very cool if you could hit them both. Yeah. When you make an attack roll against a target with that kind of weapon, you decide which of the 2 properties apply on that attack. Okay, so I guess
you hit or miss.
Yeah. So the point here is probably there's some that can only be used once per turn. So if you're making 2 attacks, you can use one, then the other, and get something out of it.
This might be pretty cool because so you put push and topple on your longsword, just like it's saying here. Your first attack, you knock him prone. And now you have advantage, right? And so now you start pushing them or whatever, because all on the same turn, right?
It's a funny image as well.
Yeah, it's like you're hitting them with the flat of your blade or something, right?
Yeah,
and now you're golfing
knocking
with a
them over and then just scraping along the ground on their knees.
Or I don't know, or you change it to you go push and then you've moved them as far as you want to move them. You don't want to keep moving them, and so now you switch to Vex, and so now you have advantage.
Yeah, I can definitely see something like Vex topple being like a very powerful for fighters.
Right.
You get all your advantage, and on the final one you knock them prone. I think that'd be very good.
Yeah, that's interesting. If nothing else, it's interesting, and I appreciate that. Right? It's like
I would love it
if this gives me something to think about.
Yeah, I would love it if it was that they could both trigger at the same time. I think that would be so fun. That would be so fun.
That's what when I was first reading, you probably saw my face. I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
No. Which is, from a design space, that's never what you want. You never want people to read something and be like, oh,
you overpromised and underdelivered.
Yeah. I think this could afford to be both at once. I don't think that would break fight at level 13 when the wizard can cast Simulacrum. Yeah. I don't think that would be a problem.
Right. Okay, subclass, improved action surge twice. Yep, that's the same. Feat, unconquerable.
Okay, so here's a new one. Yeah. When you're in great peril, you can tap into a deep well of resilience. If you fail a saving throw and your indomitable feature is expended, you can use it again by expending a use of your second wind, which also heals you.
Okay, so I mean, before you would get 2 uses of indomitable at 13th level. And 3 at 17th level. So now it's just like you can use Indomitable, which is better. So that's
So it's like
it's
basically
I missed that
the
it
use of the second wind. So you heal. So you basically get to use Indomitable and second wind at the same time.
That's not bad.
Without using an action. Yeah, it's not bad at all.
I mean,
but you do have to have you have to have expended your Indomitable first. So you have to have used Indomitable 4 times already to get for this feature to do anything, which is probably too much.
Sure, why not just but no, because you still only have 1 use of your it goes up, it scales. That's right.
Oh no, Indomitable might have been only 1. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing that scaled was second wind.
The thing that scales is second wind. Okay, yeah.
Right,
so
you get more second wind.
You're 1 Indomitable. Yeah.
Okay. And you know what? And that's not bad because I've failed a save and I'm probably getting into dire straits here, right? So now I get to probably just make the saving throw because 17th level you're adding a plus 17 to your save.
Yeah.
Right, unless you roll a 1 or a 2, even then you're probably saving.
Even then, yeah, it's rare to get above 20.
Right.
I think this is great. I don't think you would probably try to never even use second wind and just have essentially 5 of these rerolls. Yeah. Very hard to fail a save by this level. That's some good defensive utility. Yeah. That's some very powerful.
3 extra attacks at 18th now instead of 20th, and then you get your epic boon at 20th.
Yeah, same.
Okay. So that feels pretty good. So we've got the champion, the most vanilla of all fighter subclasses.
Champion fighter. This first one's new. So you've studied your friends and foes alike and learned that your victory relies on adaptability. Whenever you finish a long rest, you gain a proficiency in one skill from those available to fighters, as you remind yourself of past lessons.
Okay.
So it's an extra skill.
Skill versatility, some
I
utility.
mean,
there.
that's entirely new, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like before, you only got
Adaptable
the improved critical.
Yeah, and now you get improved crit, which is the same. You crit on a 19 or 20. Of course, it works with unarmed strikes too, which is nice. Okay, so yeah, so additional fighting style moved up from 10th level to 6th. Not bad. Fighting styles can be pretty good. Heroic Warrior, this is new, right? The thrill of battle drives you toward victory. Once per combat, you can give yourself advantage if you start your turn without it. Huh.
Heroic advantage. I'm guessing that's just advantage.
Yeah, I think, isn't that just the new name for advantage? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
It's once per combat, so, you know, but yeah, advantage is advantage, especially on a key saving throw.
Especially if, like we were talking about before, right? When we were talking about, was it Vex?
The Vex. Yeah.
If your first attack doesn't have advantage, well, now your first attack has advantage, and then as long as you keep hitting, you keep that chain alive. So you don't need to dip into a spell into wizard for cheesy, familiar shenanigans.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Superior critical is the same, and so 18 or 20.
Although that's
and then the last,
right? Because it used to be.
Oh, was that their level 14
level.
ability?
That was 15th level. Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. They've moved that up, and then they've got the new last one, which is Survivor. Do you want to take that one?
Yeah. This was an 18th level feature before. I don't know if it's changed. You attain the pinnacle of resilience in battle, giving you these benefits. Defy death, you have advantage on death saves. We didn't have that before. Moreover, when you roll an 18 to 20 on a death save, you gave the benefit. Oh, so like your improved crit also works for death
applies to your death saves. That's pretty cool.
Back up. That's cool. Heroic rally at the start, and now this was, I think, the same. You regain
that was the same, yeah.
Yeah, hit points equal to 5 plus your con mod. If you have no more than half of your hit points left. Yeah, I think that's the same. And that's
it's a pretty standard. Yeah.
But again, because it's moved up at 14th level instead of 18th,
it's more significant, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And the death save one's pretty like death saves don't actually happen that often in D&D, in my experience anyway. So it's very niche.
They happen, but that's kind of cool at my table.
Do they? Oh, okay, that's fair.
But
yeah, usually when people are rolling death saves, it's usually like very extreme. In tables I'm at.
But it is. I mean, it's generally easy to bounce them back. Like the reason that they're happening is because the guy with healing word hasn't had a turn yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Popping back up with an if you've got advantage and you're I don't know what the maths is there, but advantage and you only need an 18, 19, or 20. That's already like a.
It's a 24 point something percent. It's about 24-25%.
Yeah, so success. A quarter of the time you're going to be popping back on one hit point anyway. So yeah. It does make you hard to kill, that's for sure.
For sure.
At least through damage, which is pretty cool. Okay, yeah. So yeah, what do you think of the fighter all in?
Gosh, again, like to me, the biggest difference is the weapon mastery stuff.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And not that that's nothing. They got some improvements, arguably. The nerf to action surge hurts a little bit, but it doesn't hurt the fighter necessarily. It hurts when you're dipping into fighter as a spellcaster, right?
Yeah, like I say, it's a shame to lose that option for chicanery, but it makes a lot of sense. Again, this feels like the fighter is the same to me. There's very little that feels different outside of the weapon mastery system, which, again, is something that has existed in homebrew for a long time. So you can just grab that for free offline.
They get some buffs. I mean, getting a feat at 5th level instead of 6th. Yeah,
the Indomitable feature is nice. That's a big.
Gets a buff. And just the fact that because they gave you a feat at 5th level for free instead of like that's all you get at 6th level, like in 5e.
Yeah.
It lets them give you a subclass feature at 6 and move all subclass features up. And so that's cool and actually significant power increase, I think. Like when you look at the champion, it's a little better and maybe more so because you're getting your subclass features earlier, right?
Yeah, for real. I think it's I like, again, it's one of those things where if you had a choice, you would take the new one. I think
For sure.
there's no
for
reason
sure.
not to,
Right.
unless you are
Unless you're
multiclass,
spellcaster.
in which case, yeah, you take the old one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the end of part 1, right?
Yeah, that's the end of part 1. So we'll just hop across part 2 on
your
on your
viewers
channel.
are not going to know what to do with themselves with a video of this length coming out on your channel.
I'll put in time codes so people can skip to the bits they want really easily. But yeah, for real, it'll be good background. People put it on.
That's right.
You know.
Well,
something
no.
slap on.
So I'm sure people know this, but most of my viewers will put me on 1.5 times speed or 2 times speed, or use me for ASMR to just fall asleep to. So feel free to.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So it's free ASMR. My voice is a lot like harsher, screechier. But you know, if you want to fall asleep to it.
All right,
yeah,
man.
wicked. Okay, yeah, well, we'll see you all in part 2 then.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, catch you in a bit. Bye.
Take care.